University Challenge. Asking the questions and more learning.
Hello and welcome to University Challenge. Phase 2 of the quarterfinals concludes tonight. Both the teams playing have lost one quarterfinal so far, which makes this an elimination match. If they want to stay in the competition, they must win. Now, the team from the Open University seemed determined to do this the hard way. They lost their first match against Hertford College, Oxford, but their score was high enough to earn them a repechage match against Oxford Brookes, which they won. They then cruised past the University of East Anglia in round 2, and in their first quarter-final against Trinity College, Cambridge, they raced to an early lead. Trinity, however, eventually pegged them back and narrowly won. They've been notably strong so far on literature, film and music, but last time got a bit tangled up in SI prefixes, and their average score so far is 210. Let's meet them once again.
Hi, I'm Ellie Romans. I live in Oxfordshire and I'm studying nursing.
Hi, I'm Mike Holt from Wilmslow in Cheshire and I'm studying towards the Open degree.
And their captain?
Hi, I'm Anne Gavigan. I'm originally from Philadelphia and I'm studying art and architectural history.
Hiya, I'm James Davidson. I'm originally from Fraserburgh in Aberdeenshire and I'm studying English literature.
The team from Christchurch, Oxford became the fourth team from the college to reach the quarterfinals of this competition, thanks to hard-earned wins over the University of Southampton and Emmanuel College, Cambridge. They then faced UCL in their first quarter-final match, who pulled ahead at the start and stayed there, despite a strong finish from the Oxonians. They've been particularly impressive across all three games on mythology, marsupials and European literature, but seem to watch a lot more football than films. Their average score per game is 155. Let's meet them for the fourth time.
Hi, I'm Eliza Dean. I'm from Edinburgh and I'm studying classics and French.
Hi, I'm Malika Gorgiana. I'm from Leeds and I'm reading for a PhD in astrophysics.
And their captain.
Hello, I'm Arthur Watton. I'm from Cardiff and I'm reading for a PhD in Spanish.
Hi, I'm Elliot Lowe. I'm from Thames Ditton in Surrey and I'm studying classics.
Right then, you know how this works. Very generous of you to applaud your opposition. Very nice. Nice to see we're playing in a spirit of conviviality. Let's see if it lasts. Fingers on buzzers then. Here is your first starter for 10. Following centuries of Venetian rule, the United States of which islands was a British protectorate from 1815?
Christchurch, Watton.
Ionian Islands.
It is the Ionian Islands, yes, well done. Your bonuses, Christchurch, are on French literary cycles. After a royal dynasty, what alternative name is given to the body of medieval French literature that is also known as the Matter of France?
Dynasty.
I don't know.
French dynasties, Merovingians, Carolingians, Capetians, the Capetian.
Bad luck, it was the Carolingian cycle I was after. After two intertwined families, what name is given to the cycle of works by Zola?
The Rougon-Macquart.
It is the Rougon-Macquart, yes. Finally, what name is commonly given to the entire output of Honoré de Balzac's literary career from the 1820s?
The Comédie Humaine.
Yes, or the human comedy in English, yes. Let's start the question now. Identify the poet that wrote these lines. Yet London, empress of the northern clime, by an high fate thou greatly didst expire, great as the worlds, which at the death of time must fall and rise a nobler frame by fire. They appear in his 1667 work, Annus Mirabilis, published the year before he was appointed England's first poet...
Open Davidson.
John Dryden.
It is John Dryden, yes, England's first poet laureate. Your bonuses open are on styles of musical composition. In each case, I want you to name the musical style or form from the description. First, originally a court dance performed in the 16th century and with a name meaning from Padua, compositions in this style are slow and in duple or quadruple time.
Pavan.
Pavan is correct. Originally a style of folk dance named for the historical region surrounding Warsaw, compositions in this style are lively and...
Polka.
No, it was mazurka.
Okay.
Finally, originally a style of music associated with Venetian gondoliers, compositions in this style are typically in 6/8 time. Notable examples include Belle Nuit or Nuit d'Amour from Offenbach's 1881 opera, The Tales of Hoffmann.
6/8 like a kind of fast waltz thing.
Waltz. Venetian waltz. Venetian waltz.
No, it's barcarolle.
Okay.
Let's start the question now. The introduction of the primordial soup theory, mapping genes linked to colour blindness and haemophilia to the X chromosome, the observation that sickle cell disease can confer resistance to malaria, the concept of in vitro fertilisation, and the coining of the term clone to refer to the creation of genetically identical organisms are among the scientific contributions of which person? He was described by Arthur C. Clarke as the most brilliant science populariser of his generation.
Christchurch, Gorgiana.
Watson.
No.
Open Holt.
Feynman.
No, it's JBS Haldane. Another starter question now. This is a quote. A political manifesto against tyranny and oppression, a hymn to the beauty and sanctity of marriage. These words of Leonard Bernstein refer to which German opera of 1805? Its original title was Leonore...
Christchurch Low.
Pass or foul?
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. Was Leonore or the Triumph of Marital Love? You may not confer.
Open Romans.
Lohengrin.
No, it's Fidelio by Beethoven. Another starter question now. The achievements of which 19th century horticulturalist include the Cavendish banana, an ancestor of the variety that today makes up the majority of global banana exports. He also designed the Crystal Palace that housed the Great Exhibition of 1851.
Open Gavigan.
Paxton?
It is Joseph Paxton, yes, well done. Your bonuses, Open, are on language families. First, its validity sometimes criticised. The proposed Pama-Nyungan family comprises the majority of languages native to which large country?
Pama-Nyungan?
Russia?
Russia? Pama-Nyungan?
No, large country.
Brazil?
Brazil, something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
big
why
country.
But it's Portuguese, so...
It has other native languages.
Yeah, but definitely.
Brazil?
No, it's Australia. The Nardenne languages are native to western and northwestern parts of which continent?
Nardenne. Yeah, that's a safe one to say, yeah.
Yeah.
Africa?
No, it's North America. 2 of the 6 languages currently recognised as classical languages of India are part of the Indo-European family. The other 4 belong to which other family?
It'd be like Malayan.
Tamil's not a family, is it?
It's Malayan, it's Telugu, yeah. Telugu.
No, it's Telugu, Tamil, Kannada and Malayalam are part of the Dravidian family. That's what we need.
Yeah.
It's a picture round now. For your picture starter, you'll see a map showing the location and extent of an environmental disaster. For 10 points, I want you to give the name by which this event is usually known.
Christchurch Watton.
The Exxon Valdez oil spill.
It is exactly that. Yes, well done. Following on from that map of the Exxon Valdez oil spill of 1989, in which hundreds of thousands of barrels of oil were released into the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Alaska. For your bonuses in Christchurch, you'll see 3 further locations of oil spills. In each case, give the name by which the incident is usually known. First, this spill of 1967.
Oh,
Well, it's like Cornwall, but like...
yeah, that's not the Prestige. That was further south. Is it that's the Taven. Is it the Sea? It's not the Sea Empress. The Sea Empress.
No, it's the Torrey Canyon oil spill. Secondly, this deliberate 1991 event.
Deliberate. Was that the bombing of like the? Yeah, was that? That was the bombing. Was that the burning of the Q80 oil fields? The burning of the Q80 oil fields.
Bad. You're thinking of a different event. That was actually the Gulf War oil spill. And finally, this major spill of 2010.
Deepwater Horizon.
Correct. Yes, that's correct. Right. Puts you in the lead. Another starter question now. In mathematics, if the arithmetic mean of a set of numbers is calculated from the sum of their values, what adjective denotes a mean defined as the nth root of the product of n numbers? The same adjective is applied to sequences where the ratio between consecutive terms is constant and has a broad meaning of relating to properties of shape and space.
Open Holt.
Linear.
No.
Christchurch Gorgiana.
Geometric.
Geometric is correct, yes. Your bonuses, Christchurch, are on the Harvard computers, a group of influential female astronomers originally hired to process images and data taken by the Harvard Observatory in the late 19th century. If only you had an astrophysicist on your team.
Don't put that pressure on me.
First of all, in 1901, which of the Harvard computers published the system of classifying stars into spectral classes by colour or temperature that starts O, B, A, F, G, K, N?
Annie Jump Cannon, I think.
Annie Jump Cannon.
Is correct. Next, which other astronomer who worked as a computer in the 1880s added to Cannon's scheme by including classifications based on the width of the star's spectral lines? She also became the first person to calculate the orbit of a spectroscopic binary.
Ooh. So,
What were the other ones you were naming?
there's
before?
Henrietta Swan-Leavitt, she was one. Maury, who was Pickering's maid that he hired, and there was Fleming. And then, I don't know if...
Which is sort of like sounds.
Whichever one you think.
Go Swan-Leavitt, I don't know.
Nominate Gorgiana.
Henrietta Swan-Leavitt.
Bad luck, it was Antonia Maury.
It was Maury.
Finally, who discovered the period luminosity function that governs Cepheid
That's
variable
Henrietta
stars?
Swan.
She held a star position at Harvard from 1902.
Henrietta Swan Leavitt. I think that's
Henrietta Swan Leavitt.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 is not bad. Yes, well done. Now let's start the question now. This is a quote. I arrived in a city that always makes me think of a whited sepulchre. These words of Marlowe, the narrator of Conrad's Heart of Darkness, are thought to refer to what city? Charlotte Bronte said it was a great selfish city, but to Thackeray in Vanity Fair, it was one of the gayest and most brilliant little capitals in Europe.
Open Davidson.
Brussels.
It is Brussels, yes. Your bonus is open are 3 questions on mythological triads. With a name meaning Great Queen or Phantom Queen, which figure in Irish mythology is variously depicted as a triple-aspected war goddess or a trio of sisters named Bo, Macha and Nemen or Anand?
Banshees, maybe? Banshees?
Banshees?
No, it's the Morrigan. In Hinduism, the Tridevi are 3 major goddesses linked to the 3 male deities referred to as the Trimurti. They are Lakshmi, Parvati, and which other? The goddess of learning, arts and music, and the wife of Brahma.
No, they said Lakshmi. Is it Shiva? Shiva's male. Oh my God. Shiva?
Sarasvati. Finally, in Greek mythology, the 3 sisters Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos are collectively known by what name?
The Fates.
Fates is correct, yes. Let's start the question now. The late medieval historian, Saxo Grammaticus, was the author of the first major history of which European nation? This work contains the first known version of a tale that would later be adapted by Shakespeare.
Open Gavigan.
France?
No.
France Church Guyana.
Italy.
No, it was Denmark. Later, inspiration for Hamlet. Let's start the question. Used in industry for producing chemical precursors, what chemical process involves the electrolysis of a brine, usually containing sodium chloride? Its name is a concatenation of names for both...
France Church Guyana.
Haber-Bach process.
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. A concatenation of names for both of its products, commonly chlorine gas and sodium hydroxide. No, I'll tell you. It's the chlor-alkali process. Now let's start a question. Of the departments or départements of metropolitan France, the larger number are named after what general kind of...
France Church Walton.
Rivers.
Rivers is correct, yes. Well done. Your bonuses then, Christchurch, are 3 questions on a 2-word term. In a 2007 book subtitled The Impact of the Highly Improbable, what term did Nassim Nicholas Taleb popularise to indicate a rare, unpredictable event that has extreme consequences?
Might it be the butterfly effect?
Yeah, something to
I don't think so, but maybe.
Unpredictable consequence.
Yeah, it could be.
Butterfly effect?
No, that's a black swan event or theory. Next, an early use of the phrase black swan to refer to something vanishingly rare occurs in the satires of which Roman poet, active in the later 1st century CE?
Juvenal, maybe?
juvenile.
Juvenal.
Correct. Finally, what is the name of the black swan antagonist in Tchaikovsky's ballet Swan Lake? She seeks to lure Prince Siegfried away from the white swan heroine Odette.
This is the thing we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No idea.
It's like Brunhild or something.
Huh?
It's not to do with like the
Brunhild.
It's not to do with like. Oh,
Come on.
Brunhild.
No, it's Odile. Now let's start the question. The island of Yell in Shetland has been described as Britain's capital of what mustelid mammal, in part because of its low-lying peaty coastlines that enable the ready construction of burrows known as holts, known binomially as lutra.
France Church Walton.
Pine marten.
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. As lutra, this mammal's common name derives ultimately from a suffixed form of the Indo-European base word for water.
Open Romans.
Stoat.
Bad luck, it's the otter. Let's start a question. Which artist did the critic Roger Fry describe as an old master who is not merely modern, but actually appears a good many steps ahead of us, turning back to show us the way? Born in Crete in 1541, his major works include A View of Toledo and the Burial...
Open Gavigan.
El Greco.
El Greco is correct, yes. Your bonus is open are 3 questions on geology. Feldspar is an example of what important class of minerals? Their fundamental unit is a tetrahedron of the 2 most common elements in the Earth's crust.
Silicates, maybe. Okay. Nominate Holt.
Silicates.
Correct. Which potassium-rich feldspar defines level 6 on the Mohs scale of hardness? That is harder than apatite, but softer than quartz.
I just know talc. Can you name? No.
Granite.
That's too hard.
Nominate Romans.
Granite.
No, it's orthoclase. Finally, containing aluminium and cleaving in thin sheets, which group of silicate minerals includes biotites and muscovites?
Slate, maybe? That goes into sheets, doesn't it?
Right, okay. Nominate Romans.
Slate.
So it's Micah. Scores level and a music starter round now. For your music starter, you'll hear an extract from a late 19th century opera. For 10 points, simply name the French composer.
Christchurch Low.
Bizet.
No, you can hear a bit more open.
Open Romans.
Berlioz.
No, it's Jules Massenet. Music bonuses in a moment. Forming part of the collection entitled The Black Unicorn, A Litany for Survival, is a poem by which US poet and civil rights activist born in Harlem in 1934. Her other work includes Zami, A New Spelling of My Name, and The Cancer Journals.
Open Davidson.
Maya Angelou.
No. No, I'll tell you. It's Lorde, Audre Lorde. Let's start the question now. Which national capital is located on the island of New Providence, which lies between the island of Eleuthera to the west and Andros Island to the east, all within...
Christchurch Wharton.
Nassau.
Nassau is correct, yes. Well, a moment ago you heard an extract from the 1894 opera Thais, based on a novel by Anatole France. Your music bonuses are 3 more operatic works inspired by French literature, though the composer in each case is not French. First, name the composer of this late 20th century operatic overture.
Late 20th century.
Maybe it's like Philip Glass or something.
No,
the operatic.
Dogstein on the beach.
Glass, is it the opera?
Maybe. Because it sounds kind of minimalistic.
Okay, yeah, it is quite minimalistic. Philip Glass.
Philip Glass is correct. That was from Les Enfants Terribles, adapted from a novel by Cocteau. Second, the composer of this extract.
Inspired by French literature, and they're not French.
Um,
What ones are they inspired by?
It's an Italian, so
Yeah. Where's it from? Do you know where it's from? No. Rossini. Yeah. Rossini?
No, that was by Verdi from Rigoletto. Finally, the composer of this piece, first performed in 1893.
Rossini did the Barber of Seville, didn't he? I don't know. Puccini? What do you reckon? Rossini?
I'm not sure.
Puccini's only Puccini. Puccini?
It is Puccini, yes. From Manon Lescaut, based on a 1731 novel by Abbé Prévost. Let's start a question. I just need a one-word answer here. The extinct language known as Old Prussian was a member of which branch of the Indo-European language?
Christchurch Wharton.
Baltic.
Baltic is correct, yes. Your bonuses, Christchurch, are 3 questions on medieval Wales. First, noted for a victory over the Vikings in 856, Rhodri, known as the Great, succeeded his father Mervyn the Freckled as ruler of which kingdom in 844?
Gwynedd.
Correct. A grandson of Rhodri, prominently associated with the codification of Welsh law, Hywel ap Cadell is usually known by what short byname? You may answer in English or Welsh.
Hywel Dda.
Yes, or in English, Hywel the Good. Finally, Rhodri and Hywel also ruled which kingdom of north-central Wales? Its name survives in that of the large present-day county...
Powys.
Powys is correct. Let's start the question now. Scotch whisky stills are traditionally made of what metal, adjacent to nickel and zinc on the periodic table?
Christchurch Wharton.
Copper.
Copper is correct, yes. Your bonus is Christchurch. 3 questions on paintings in the Manchester Art Gallery. A Dream of Annesley Hall by Edward Matthew Ward depicts the early love of which romantic poet? He appears grim-faced and standing in darkness as he looks through a window at a party.
I went there.
Byron.
maybe?
Byron.
Byron is correct. In the 1874 work Byron's Dream, a young man and woman on a hillside view an approaching horseman. This painting is by which artist associated with the Pre-Raphaelites?
Literally saw this last night.
Raphaelite.
The singer sergeant. Was he singer?
Was he?
I don't think so, actually.
no,
Never mind, he wasn't.
Concept or- was he-
No, it wasn't. I
Thoreau.
think he didn't. Huh?
Thoreau. I don't know.
So bad I saw this last night.
Thoreau.
It's Ford Madox Brown. Also inspired by Byron, another work by Brown depicts brothers confined in a dungeon by Lake Geneva. I need the word that completes its title. The prisoner of what island castle?
Island castles in Lake Geneva.
Island
Island
Lake
castles.
Geneva.
What are the islands? Like Montreux, Geneva.
Geneva, I don't
Montreux.
No, it's Chillon. Now, let's start the question now. Listen carefully and you may have a year either way. In which year did the following countries all join the United Nations? Guinea-Bissau, Grenada and Bangladesh.
Christchurch Watson.
1975.
I'll accept that. Yes, you're one out. It's 1974. Your bonuses, Christchurch, are on a scientist. Born in 1805, which Irish mathematician gives his name to a function used in quantum mechanics to express the total energy of a system in terms of its momentum and positional coordinates?
Momentum, is that the... I would say...
Sorry, what did you say?
Well, I was going to say Heisenberg, but I don't think it's Irish. Wait, Irish mathematicians. I'll just say...
Joseph Grimaldi.
Amusing and wrong. William Rowan Hamilton. Devised by Hamilton in 1843 in an extension of the principles of complex numbers, what name is given to numbers in the form A plus B I plus C J plus D K, where A, B, C and D are real numbers, and I, J and K are unit vectors in the X, Y and Z directions?
Name is given to them.
That was some very complicated algebra.
Oh no, Eulerian. Eulerian. I know it's wrong. But...
Okay, O'Learian.
No, it's the quaternions. Finally, in his work on quaternions, Hamilton also coined which six-letter term, now widely used in mathematics, to denote quantities that have magnitude but not direction?
Scalar.
Scalar.
Scalar is correct, yes. Let's start the question, and it's a picture round. For your picture starter, you'll see a photograph. For 10 points, please give me the subject's name.
Open Romans.
Michael Collins.
It is Michael Collins, yes. That was the astronaut Michael Collins, who was awarded the National Geographic Society's Hubbard Medal in 1970 for his part in the first moon landing. And for your bonuses, Open, you need to identify 3 more recipients of this medal. First, this oceanographer, pictured on the right next to his father, in front of the bathyscaphe they designed.
That's the Cousteau.
Cousteau?
Yeah.
Cousteau?
No, Jacques Picard. Secondly, this polar explorer.
Is that Amundsen?
Amundsen? Amundsen?
No, it's Matthew Henson. Finally,
Oh, Jane Goodall.
that is the great Jane Goodall, yes. Now let's start the question now. In his poem Ulysses, Tennyson describes which cluster of stars as rainy?
Open Romans.
The Pleiades.
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. The closest open star cluster to Earth, they are located in the constellation Taurus, where their conspicuous V-shaped formation marks the head of the bull. No, I'll tell you, it was Hyades. Now let's start the question. What 2-word name is given to the early astronomical device that may be seen on the flag of Portugal? It comprises a...
Christchurch Watson.
An armillary sphere.
It is the armillary sphere. Yeah, well done. Your bonuses, Christchurch, are 3 questions on the Japanese Edo period playwright Chikamatsu. Born in 1653, Chikamatsu is best known for his works in what genre of Japanese theatre that features puppetry accompanied by shamisen music?
No.
No, it's bunraku. Next, the Battles of Koxinga follows the life of the titular Chinese general who established the kingdom of Tung Ning, a Han Chinese state on which island?
Would that be
Taiwan?
Taiwan? Yeah, Taiwan.
Taiwan is correct. Many of Chikamatsu's later plays were both set and premiered in which city, currently the 3rd largest in Japan, where he lived and worked?
What was the 3rd largest? Is it
Kyoto or Osaka? Kyoto,
Yeah.
maybe?
Kyoto.
Bad luck, it's Osaka.
Sorry.
Now, let's start a question. Joseph Garcin, Inez Serrano, and S...
Christchurch Dean.
No exit.
It is no exit, yes, well done. Your bonuses, Christchurch, are on the first chemical elements discovered through spectroscopy. First, in 1860 and 1861, Robert Bunsen and Gustav Kirchhoff used their newly invented spectroscope to discover which 2 highly reactive group 1 metals. Both are named after the colours of their respective emission spectrums.
Is it like sodium and potassium?
Sodium, potassium. Yeah, sure. Sodium and potassium.
No, it's cesium and rubidium. In 1861, William Crookes discovered which group 13 metal through spectroscopic analysis of impure sulfuric acid, a soft, silvery white metal. Its soluble salts are highly toxic and have historically been used as rat poisons and insecticides.
Like arsenic, maybe?
But like, is arsenic not older than that?
Poison.
Rat poison was... No, it's is it thallium? Thallium.
It is thallium, well done. Finally, also named after the colour of its emission spectrum, which other group 13 metal was discovered in 1863 by Ferdinand Reich and Hieronymus Richter? Reich believed he had found a sulfide of a new element in a sample of zinc ore, but was colourblind and so had to enlist Richter to analyse it spectroscopically.
It's like, what colour would that be? Like zinc ore?
Zinc, what is zinc ore? It's quite light, isn't it? Is it like, was it group 13?
Is that like viridium? Is that a thing?
Oh, maybe.
Come on.
Iridium.
No, it's indium. Another side of question. Give any one of the 3 consecutive years in which the following took place. The end of the Iran-Iraq War, the Velvet Revolution in Czechoslovakia.
Open gav again.
1989.
It is, yes, that's bang in the middle. Well done. Your bonus is open to 3 questions on ancient history. Dating to the 5th century BC, the document known as the Old Oligarch forms a written constitution of the civilization centred on which city?
Athens.
Athens.
Correct. Meaning the Hill of Ares, what name is given to the elevated land northwest of the Acropolis that was the meeting place of a council of archons in the Athenian legal system?
Some kind of gore.
It's past.
Yes,
Yes, past.
Pass.
It was Areopagus. Laws known by a Greek term meaning shaking off of burdens were introduced by which Athenian writer and lawmaker?
Oh God, who did the Codex? Draco? Draco?
No, it's Solon. Another starter question now. In tectonics, what physical quantity relating to slip along a fault line describes a magnitude scale that reliably measures earthquakes greater than magnitude 8? In physics and mathematics, the same word denotes a
Open Romans.
Richter.
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. The same word denotes a function describing a torsional effect, generally in the form of the product of a force and a distance.
Christchurch Dean.
Angular.
No, it's moment. Here's another starter question. Which Shakespearean heroine describes herself variously as a poor monster and Patience on a monument, who spends her time smiling at grief? Another character, Antonio, refers to her and her brother, Sebastian, collectively...
Christchurch Dean.
Viola.
Viola's the one, yeah. Sebastian was a giveaway, wasn't it? Well done. Your bonus is Christchurch. Are 3 questions on German cities named after people. Founded as a Roman colony and named after an early Roman emperor, which city northwest of Munich was the headquarters of the Fugger and Welser merchant families from the later Middle Ages?
Northwest of Munich. Might have been Nuremberg. Nuremberg.
There's Augsburg. One of the most populous cities of Saxony, along with Dresden and Leipzig. Which industrial centre was known as Karl Marx Stadt from 1953 to 1990?
It's like West Howe or something.
And at the Gone, Open University have 75 points and Christchurch College Oxford have 170. And the answer to that last one was Chemnitz. Do you know, there was such a lovely touch during that game where when Christchurch came in with really impressive fast answers, you guys applauded, and I thought that was wonderfully noble of you and in keeping with what a wonderfully entertaining team you've been. I'm sorry it's goodbye, but have you had a good time?
We've had a fabulous time.
You've been absolutely riveting to watch and hugely impressive and entertaining. So thank you so much for coming in, being such a wonderful part of this series. Christchurch, you finally hit your stride. That was the first time you made it look not quite easy, but you look like you're sort of comfortable. And it looks like you're coming to form just in time. We shall see you again. I hope you could join us next time for another quarter-final match. But until then, it is goodbye from Open University.
Bye.
And it's goodbye for now from Christchurch College, Oxford.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.